Hello, today we're doing a Q&A. It's my first ever Q&A actually, so let's go. Question 1 is, how did you develop interest in this subject? I always grew up watching spy movies like Tomb Raider, Mission Impossible, James Bond, and those piqued my interest in wanting to train to be a spy. So when I turned 16, I got a lockpick set and handcuffs for my birthday, and I just started practicing. It took a little bit to be able to figure out how to work with the lock in a handcuff, but as soon as you get it, it's just kind of muscle memory, and it's like riding a bike. Once you get it once, it's very easy the other times, for me. Question 2, when and how did you start escaping and practicing? I think I was, 16. Question 3, is there ever a time you failed an escape and couldn't get out? Honestly, not that I can think of. Sometimes it just takes longer, and I am not able to get out as fast. Sometimes I just have to switch which bobby pin I'm using, because sometimes they'll bend too much that they don't work well, but I don't think so. If I have a failed escape, I will post it, so you will know. Question 4, how long have you been doing your escapes? Since I was 16. I started, I only ever really picked locks, like deadbolts and doors and stuff, and padlocks and all those sorts of things, so I was more focused on picking locks, and then handcuffs was just kind of for fun. But I started doing more unique and intense handcuff escapes last year, so beginning of 2024. Question 5, what do you do after an escape? That's actually a really good question. Usually I go and edit the video. I'll probably eat some food. I don't know. Take a nap, depending on the escape. Some escapes are very mentally exhausting because you're put in this situation where it can be claustrophobic and just it can do things to your brain. So sometimes I just like to relax and rest from a crazy escape. Question 6, which one was harder, buried alive or underwater? I actually really like this question. So those two escapes they were very different in that for the underwater, I had to hold my breath, and that is probably one of the only escapes where I had to do it multiple times in order to escape. Mostly all of my escapes are first try, and I post the video of first try without any test takes or practicing because I like to be authentic. But the underwater, it did take a couple takes because I'm holding my breath, and it's like if the bobby pin gets stuck or if I drop it, then that's like an extra 10 seconds, and so for that one I made sure to be very safe, and I had a lot of things in place so that I was safe. For the buried alive, we actually dug the hole, and I was put inside a box, and then they put dirt on top of me, so that was all real. I would say the buried alive was a lot more challenging mentally, because it's like, if the box collapses, or I could be covered in dirt and suffocate, so that wouldn't be good. There were also spiders crawling on me, so they had gotten through in the dirt, and that was wild. But so mentally exhausting, I would say the buried alive, just because I was buried alive and handcuffed and had to break free. But the water escape was probably more challenging, actually breaking out of the handcuffs, because I had to do it with my eyes closed underwater, and so it was just completely different feel for an escape. But I like that question. That's cool. Okay, Question 7. Favorite uniform color? Orange. Although my last thumbnail was like a yellow jumpsuit and I liked that a lot, so I'm kind of like, I should just go buy a yellow jumpsuit now. Question 8. Are leg irons harder than handcuffs to escape? I would say it depends on the position that they're placed, but generally yes, because they require more tension because they're bigger and bulkier, so the lock is also bigger. So sometimes it can bend the bobby pin as you're trying to push it just because it does require more tension. So I would say yes, leg irons are more difficult, but they're also just on my feet and it's not like they can be like behind your back would take more time. Like being handcuffed behind your back would take more time than taking up leg irons because I either have to bring it up front or just pick it behind. So it depends on the scenario. Question 9. Ever thought of recreating bound scenes from movies and trying to escape from those? I actually have. If you've seen Birds of Prey with Harley Quinn, there's a scene where Harley Quinn is chained up and she uses her feet to pick the lock, like lifting her feet up above her head to pick the lock, the handcuffs. And when I watched it, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to do that. So I have thought about it. I think that would be really cool. There's a lot of movies that have a lot of escapes where people, or scenarios where people are bound and they don't escape, and also scenarios where people do escape. So it would be fun to do both. See if I could escape and how they escape, or also escape from scenarios people can't escape. I think that would be cool. All right. 10. Can we get more jumpsuit content? Yes. 11. What are your favorite cuffs to escape, and what are your favorite cuffs overall? My favorite handcuffs to escape were actually a pair that I lost. They were black hinge cuffs. They were my first ever cuffs, the ones that I got when I turned 16, and I lost them. Just sad. But those are my favorite, probably to escape and overall, but they're gone. But I'm gonna get new ones, it's okay. 12. Quickest time to do an escape. I don't always time myself, apart from like the timer you can see on a video, and sometimes more like action and like acting is going into it, so it would take longer than I could actually just do in real life. But when I was first starting my escapes, I did one where I was just handcuffed behind my back and I had to bring it forward and then pick it with a bobby pin in my mouth, and I did that in like 26 seconds. So I would say that, but I don't always time myself, so we'll just go with that. It could have been 32 or 26 seconds, around there. 13. What was the longest time you were handcuffed behind your back? I would say not that long, just because typically I'm trying to escape and not just sitting there with handcuffs behind my back. But if it was a more difficult escape, probably 5 minutes would be the longest. I don't know. Question 14. Do you struggle more with ropes, duct tape, or cuffs? I would say handcuffs are the easiest for me, just because I've practiced the most with them and I've done them more often. Second would be duct tape, because it's fairly easy to snap, or if you can catch the end, you can unravel it. So I would say rope is the hardest, because it is harder to snap and you can't just catch the corner to untie it. You'd have to untie it with your teeth or cut it on something. So rope probably takes the longest, but is still very doable. Thank you for watching my first ever Q&A. Let me know if we should do this again sometime, if you enjoyed it. And don't forget to, I don't know. Have a good day.